In this video, we're going to talk about 7 signs of depression, 7 symptoms of depression that you should not ignore. Welcome to Pastor Brad Rocks, man. I am Pastor Brad, and as the title says, I love to rock for Jesus, man. I'm a musician, and I love to create classic-style hard rock music that glorifies God and that I know will build you up in your faith. And as a pastor, I love to create Christ-centered videos just like this one that will help you, build you up in your walk with the Lord, and help you live your very best life through Jesus, man. If that sounds like something that would be a blessing to you, I encourage you to subscribe. So in this video, we're going to talk about 7 signs of depression that you should not ignore. I want you to know I have battled depression. I still battle depression from time to time. Through Christ, I absolutely have victory and joy, but I want you to know that I've experienced what I'm talking about here, and I'm with you in this, okay? You're not alone. An important disclaimer that I need to drop in here. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, right? This is just me talking about my experience with depression. I've done some research on some signs of depression, and actually, as I went through and discovered these signs, I thought, whoa, I've experienced all of these. Let's talk about them. I wanted to share these with you. And in part 2, we're going to talk about treatment for depression and some ways that I have found that really bless me. So be sure to check that out. I'll put the link in the description. But if you find yourself in a very depressed state, really battling this, I encourage you to seek out professional help, a counselor or a doctor to help you with your depression. I've gone to counseling. There's absolutely no shame in it. It was very helpful for me, and I would not hesitate to go again if it got to that point. All right, man, you ready? Let's dive into these 7 signs of depression that we should never ignore. Number 1 is trouble sleeping. I mean, I battled this. You know, you lay your head on your pillow and that treadmill just starts to run. Your brain starts to race. All of a sudden, you can be sitting in your chair and you can't keep your eyes open. You're so tired. It's like, I gotta go to bed, man. And as soon as you lay your head on your pillow, bing, you're like wide awake. Your brain's racing. You're stressed about all these things. Or another thing that happens to me is my head will hit the pillow and I'm like, I'm out instantly. But an hour and a half later, I'll wake up and through the middle of the night, I'll just struggle, toss and turn, and I can't shut my brain down. You just have trouble sleeping because you're troubled and you're depressed. Sign number 2, loss of interest in life, in the things that you normally would really enjoy doing. You just don't want to do anything. You just want to lay down. You just want to sleep all the time. A third sign of depression that we should not ignore is a change in our appetite. Some people quit eating. Some people are like, I'm just not hungry. I just don't feel like eating. When I went through a really serious bout with depression, I gained 50 pounds in 9 months. I'm not exaggerating. I literally did. I got really fat. Food is awesome, and it's a wonderful gift from God. But if you're in one of those seasons where you're noticing your appetite is changing and it's affecting your health and your weight and all of those things, don't ignore that. Sign number 4, being on edge. You know, you wake up and you're like, man, I want to make this a good day. I'm going to work really hard at that. But then you find that the least little things are setting you off, and you're kind of snapping at the people that you love. And then you get mad at yourself, and it's like this downward spiral because you're like, why am I like this? Why did I get so mad? Why am I letting things get to me so badly or so easily? Sign number 5 is feeling guilty. That doesn't mean you actually are guilty of anything, but you feel guilty. It's like you look at yourself in the mirror and you've gained this weight, or you just don't feel like doing anything, and then all of a sudden that starts to compound because the enemy starts to whisper in your ear, see, you're just a sloth, you're just lazy, you just don't do anything, and all of a sudden, you start buying that lie, and now you feel guilty for that, and then your guilt makes it harder, and all those other symptoms worse, and so you eat more, and it's just this horrible cycle, man. Don't ignore that. Sign number 6 is unexplained physical symptoms. I know at various times through my life when I've battled with depression, I just felt sick. I couldn't really put my finger on it. It's like, well, I don't feel all the way sick. I just don't feel good, man. I just feel kind of like crap. I just want to lay around all the time, or I just kind of have a headache, or sometimes I would even get like body aches, or my stomach just wouldn't feel good. And all of that can be brought on by depression. If you find yourself in an extended period of time where you just don't feel good, and you've got all these weird symptoms that kind of come and go, and you don't even know how to treat them because you don't know where they're coming from, don't ignore that, dude. And number 7, and this is a big one for me in my life, an emerging dark cloud. Okay, now if you're anywhere close to my age, you remember a show called The Munsters. It was kind of a spoof on this family that were from Transylvania. The grandpa was a vampire, and Herman Munster was a Frankenstein character, and then there were these other kind of Addams Family type family members, and I forget where they lived. They had some kind of spoof on their address number, and the whole idea was in their neighborhood, it could be sunny everywhere. But over their house, there was always a rain cloud. It was always thundering and lightning and dark. And that is one of the things that comes along with depression. It just feels like there's this darkness, this heaviness, this looming sense of just heaviness and darkness hanging over you. It's hard to put into words, as I just demonstrated, but you know it. If you felt it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I used to really feel this, and I still do sometimes, but I've learned to give it to God, and we'll talk about that in the next video. I would wake up in the middle of the night, and the middle of the night was the worst for me. I'd just wake up, maybe have to go to the restroom or whatever, and I would just feel overwhelmingly depressed, and I'd feel that black cloud. And sometimes I'd feel it through the day, but it'd really be bad at night. Again, we'll talk about how I learned to deal with that in the next video, but man, if you're feeling that, the whole point in this video is to say, don't ignore that. Don't blow that off. I hope that you found those 7 signs of depression helpful. Listen, it's not that you have to have all 7 of those to say, okay, I'm depressed. No, if you got 3 or 4 of those, man, don't ignore that. Deal with that. Find some help. Definitely watch part 2 of this little mini series where I'm going to talk to you about treatment for depression and how God helped me, some things that really, really made a difference in my life. And I hope that they'll make a difference in your life as well. God bless you. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you have any questions, you need prayer, anything, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. God bless you. Catch you in the next video.